That day I really noticed what I learned like playing Forza Horizon, driving the MRS. I mean, I'm not a professional race car driver. The most important thing is to have fun in your car. Where are the limits of your tires? Because tires are have such a huge influence on the car, how it behaves, how it drives. Hello guys, welcome to this new video. The first thing I want to do is, I have a little apology for the lack of content in the last days or weeks.
It's hard to find time and everything for the videos, and also doing stuff on the car in the winter is not that easy, but I'm working on stuff, and I'm working on several projects which I will show you in future videos, so just stay tuned for when it's time for those.
But yeah, one exciting thing, or I hope it will be exciting, is that I want to start a new video series. I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet, but you obviously saw the title, so you will know what I called the series in the end. But yeah, today I wanted to start with a video about tips or stuff that I learned, and stuff I want to share about safely driving your car fun, and really how I learned about driving the MRS. I mean, I'm not a professional race car driver or anything, or I'm also not like the best driver on earth. I know I still make a lot of mistakes myself. That's why I decided to make this video, because the mistakes I did were some that you could avoid, and so yeah, that's what I want to talk about in this video. So maybe if somebody who's watching this video doesn't have to make the same mistakes that I did, or might become a cool idea of what to do or what not to do. So I've made a little script right here. I hope both cameras work, and yeah, the first thing is really, if you buy a new car, maybe it's your first car, or maybe you've only driven like front-wheel drive cars before, and now you're buying or want to buy a rear-wheel drive sports car or something with way more power than your previous car was, or just something like that. The first and most obvious point is that you should take it easy on your first, like maybe half a year or in general, because you don't know anything really about how the car behaves, and also if you've done a lot of research or anything, even then you don't know how the car feels and how you have to react to certain stuff the car does. For example, oversteer, understeer, or in general also stuff that's that's not only dependent on the car, but also on the tires, the setup and everything. And yeah, so that's obviously, yeah, we don't have to talk about that. I think that's yeah, that's pretty clear. But right here. Yep. I had to look for that intersection. In the intersection. And yeah, the second point that I have on my list is to learn to drive in different conditions. If you are in a part of the world, wherever you are, where it snows, it's really a good idea to really drive in the snow, drive in the winter, drive in wet conditions, and don't say, maybe I don't want to drive in the winter, or maybe it's also like, I don't want to get my car into the salt. But I really learned a lot about driving my MRS, for example, in the snow, because it's like you can experience understeer situations, oversteer situations, and most of them are like, in comparison to normal driving on the road, they're of course way more like aggressive, and those type of situations happen way earlier, obviously, than on the dry road or even on the wet surface than on the snow. But how the car behaves is always or mostly similar, like what to do when the car oversteers or what to do when the car understeers, and you can experience that on the snow in way slower speeds. So when something goes wrong, or when you make the wrong steering input or anything, you don't go that fast as you would do in a situation like this on the dry surface. So yeah, that's why I think it's good to also drive in those conditions, and really, yeah, learn. Yeah, I think it's a good place to learn those type of situations that could occur when driving your car around, and maybe also driving your car faster. And yeah, and the thing is, because that's what my next point is, it's good to try to master these driving situations, or these difficult situations, in a safe environment. When you have a empty parking lot with a lot of snow, where nobody is, then that would be pretty safe, I would say. If you're yeah, I don't know the English word, but yeah, if you watch out and don't do anything stupid. But I also mean that with doing like these driver's trainings. I made a video about that if you want to see it. I don't know how these videos are, or how these events are also available in other countries or other parts of the world, but in Germany it's a pretty common thing. These driver's trainings where you like drive onto a surface, and then there's a plate on the bottom where you drive over, and once your car passes it, it kicks out the rear to one side, and then you have to you also drive on a slick surface, and then you have to correct the slide and try to get your car straight again. And that's also a great part, where you, place where you can trying this with ESP, or how do you call it, stability control, or without, because that's also something when your car has like this stability control. Traction, is it traction control? No, I'm thinking about the English word, but I think stability control is right. Yeah, to really experience how big the difference is between driving with those assists and driving without them, because I mean the MRS has nothing except for ABS, and that's also something that I wanted to try out, like disabling the ABS, obviously in a safe environment. Disabling the ABS, really trying to brake and experiencing what happens if the ABS goes out, or if I ever want to drive a car without ABS. So yeah, that's also something you could train in a place like this. And also track driving, because yeah, but I will come to that in a second, because I have another part before going to the track, and that is sim racing, or not really professional sim racing, but I think what has worked for me already is simply driving a how would you say it, a racing game on PC or whatever. A racing game with good physics, like Forza Motorsport, or I think also Forza Horizon has a pretty good yeah, driving like physics and everything, and that with a force feedback wheel. I have the Thrustmaster T150. They are way better here, I would say, like way better wheels than that, but this is already enough. It's a pretty cheap wheel. I think it's cost 120, 200 euros or 150 or something, and when I bought it. And because there you can experience situations really where when you're going fast around the corner, what happens when the car loses grip, you suddenly steer into the out of the corner to correct the slide. Or what I really learned, I experienced that when I made this night driving video where we went drifting in the snow. That's at that day I really noticed what I learned like playing Forza Horizon, because that is something that is still pretty hard for me in the MRS, is like snap oversteer or how would you call it, like yeah, I would call it snap oversteer. Like you start to slide, correct the slide, but you overcorrect and then snap back the other direction and don't steer back right away. I can try to find a clip because that happened to me at the track already, where I experienced exactly that. I braked a little bit too late, got sideways in the entry of a corner, and I corrected the slide, but then I was too slow to turn the wheel back and like turned out and went into the sand pit on the track. But yeah, and that's something what I noticed when driving in the winter, because those situations were also pretty hard in Forza Horizon, driving with the steering wheel, because you have the same. The car behaves, I would say, pretty realistic. Obviously it's not a simulator, and driving with a cheap wheel like that doesn't come really close to real driving conditions. But this condition especially is just how you move your hands and how you coordinate everything, and when you notice shit, when I notice my car starts to come back, I immediately have to turn and stuff like that. I will try to put a clip in, try to recreate that in Forza Horizon, and maybe I find a real clip from the track. And yeah, that's something that really helped me in real driving conditions. So yeah, I would really recommend like driving racing games with the wheel. Obviously games like Need for Speed or The Crew or something, I think they don't have that of a realistic like physics. But Forza Horizon, or better even Forza Motorsport or Assetto Corsa, or these sim-like games can really work for that. And yeah, then I come to my next point, which is track driving. I've mentioned that already. The track is a fairly safe place where you can really try to drive your car fast. Like if you do toge runs or anything, there's always traffic and maybe animals on the road when you drive at night. So there's always like a very or a lot higher risk than when you drive at a track. And I would also recommend, or at least that's what I did because it was the most convenient for me, driving on a small track first. I mean, I could go to the Nordschleife and try to run a stupid time on that, but I started on a smaller track like the Spreewaldring, what you might have seen in my videos. I can link the video up here if you wait up there. If you ever want to see something like that, where I drive on the track, and because that's really a safe place where you can really push your car and try to test the limits. Where are the limits of your car, and especially what you can really try out at the track is where are the limits of your tires, because tires are have such a huge influence on the car, how it behaves, how it drives, and are often overlooked by many people, I think. So tires are for me the most important, also if you think about modding your car, the most important aspects. Like I would never cheap out on tires without, like, then I mean I for a daily driver I would like not buy the cheapest tire, maybe buy all season tires, that's fine, but you always have to keep in mind you're driving on all season tires and not on like 200 tread wear like I do in the summer, because the difference between tires is so huge. And also if you have different dimensions, as for me for example in summer and winter, I have 185s at the front right now, and normally I drive 205s, 200 tread wear. They are a completely different like level of grip on the same car. That's also something that you always have to keep in mind. And on the track is where you can really test out the limits, and test out the limits of your brakes, test out the limits of your tires, of your car. What does the car, how, like some example would be, what I noticed is that like careful you have to be, like not super turn into the corner super quickly or something, because that makes the MRS oversteer, or I think many cars oversteer pretty bad. That's something that I learned, for example, and I think the track is really a place where you can learn that in a fairly safe environment, a smaller track where you don't have a huge amount of speed. Like for example on the Spreewaldring, the fastest straight away I top out at 140 kilometers an hour, like top of third gear. I never go into fourth gear on the track, and with that you can then always increase, go to more difficult tracks or anything. But at least that's my plan, what I want to do and how I learned. And yeah, that's, I think. Do I have anything else on my list? Yeah, I said don't underestimate the effect that tires have, and experience the limits of your car. And yeah, I would say to conclude that the most important thing is to have fun in your car. Like I always talked about, like, testing these the limits of your car in a safe environment, because the worst thing for your fun when driving a car is to be scared or to not know what your car will do. Because when you learn to drive your car, the driving gets more and more fun, because you don't feel that reckless, because you kind of know what your car will do, and you can really I don't know the word, but you will know how fast you can drive in different conditions, and when it's really a good idea to maybe back off a little, take the speed down a little bit, because you know once if there might come a corner where I don't which I don't expect, I know when I go that fast I won't be able to get that corner, and that's something which you get from experience, I say. And I only have like I think it's 2 years now, a little bit over 2 years of driving experience, and that's only in this car. I've driven other cars before, but this as my first car is where I have the most experience in, and 2 years is nothing in yeah, inexperienced. So have fun and hoon or race and drive safely, and yeah, I wish you a lot of fun with your cars and everything. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. I don't want to stretch out the video too much. I'm already took a longer route home because I'm currently going home from work, so I could talk a little bit more and then the anticipated 15 minutes, but yeah, I would say that's everything. If you liked the video and would like to see more of that and more of this like video series, I would be very happy to welcome you as a subscriber. And yeah, I would say that's it. Thanks for watching and have a great day.